Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carly. I am coming to you from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I usually use this space to talk about all of my current knitting projects, some future knitting planning, and sometimes some sewing too. I thought today that I could go over some colorwork patterns that have really caught my eye lately. It is starting to turn a little gloomy and a bit colder here where I live, and so I'm really starting to crave some cozy colorwork knitting. I actually just started my first colorwork project a couple weeks back, and I feel like I'm hooked already. So I really want to dive into colorwork this season and try out some different patterns. Now, before we get started, I will start with what I'm wearing. I did talk about this a little bit in the last podcast episode, and this is a sewn shirt that I made from Sew House 7. It is the Romy gathered dress and top. I plan to do the dress soon, and you get 3 different options here. I just used some old bed sheets, which is kind of like a nice linen, and made this cute top. It's really nice and oversized and flowy. I love the gathered hem here for the sleeves, and then it's got a nice keyhole pattern here. And I use this cute little ceramic button that I got in Victoria, BC. So, colorwork patterns. Now, the reason why colorwork is such a good thing to work on for fall and winter is that if it's all over colorwork, you're basically getting a double layer knit because of the stranded strands in the back of your work. It creates 2 pieces of fabric basically, so it becomes really warm. So I live in Calgary, Alberta, so the winters can get extremely cold here. Sometimes we get -30, it's not uncommon, and a lot of the time it's below 0 in the winter. So I definitely am looking to add some pieces to my wardrobe that will warm it up a bit. I'm so sick and tired of being cold throughout the winter, and it just makes winter a little bit harder to get through when you're also complaining about being cold when you're outside. And I don't want that to happen this year. I want to be warm and toasty when I get outside for some fresh air, and I just want to be prepared. So I've been really diving into the colorwork patterns lately, and like I said, I've only knit one colorwork piece before, and it's almost done. I just have 1 sleeve left to go, and this is the porcelain sweater from Lee Knit. But since I've been enjoying it so much, I thought I would kind of take a peek and see what other colorwork patterns are out there that I'd love to have in my wardrobe. So I did create a bundle for this, and I'll put the link down below, and it is a bundle on Ravelry of just a lot of different patterns that are catching my eye right now. I won't talk about all of them today because that would turn into a really long video, and a video that would take forever to edit. So I'll just talk about probably my favorite and the ones that I see myself mostly knitting. So let's get started. The first one I want to talk about is the Kilum Jacket. Now, this is by Cape Facet, and it was actually published in January of 1993. So I thought this would be kind of cool because I was born in 1993. So it'd be kind of fun to bring that pattern back. And also it just looks so cozy and big and oversized. I think it only has 1 size available, but it's quite large, so I think it would fit a lot of different body types. And then I'm assuming it probably wouldn't, I'm not sure, I don't know, maybe it would be difficult to change the size. I won't speak on that. But the crazy thing about this one is because it's published in 1993 and it was only through sorry, I'm looking down here because my laptop's down here with Ravelry open. But a lot of the sources that it was available in are no longer being printed. So I actually found one of the books that this Kilum Jacket was in, and I found a used version online on Amazon, and it should be arriving in a few days. So I do actually plan to cast this on. It calls for bulky weight yarn. And on Ravelry here, it doesn't say anything about the yarns that were used. I'm hopefully the magazine that I purchased will have more information on the yarn. I really do like the colors that K Facet chose for this, and I think it looks really beautiful. I'll try probably to do something similar to that. I'd probably take out some of the purples that are in there, replace it with more warmer colors, but we will see. And again, once I get this book, I will be sharing it on here for sure to kind of keep you all updated on that and to see how many yarns are needed. I think I read somewhere that there was like 20 plus different types of yarn for this project, and I'm sure you could reuse some of them and cut down that number to keep it a little like less costly. But again, I haven't seen the pattern and I'm not really sure how that would work. But it is one that I think would just be so warm and cozy to wear around the house, and then also on kind of warmer winter days that I could just wear this outside as a jacket too. So that is number one on my list. I saw that and immediately fell in love with it. I just thought this has to be in my wardrobe. I also thought with the buttons is that I could probably make my own buttons with some deer antlers that my mom and my grandpa have laying around, and I could just cut them and then drill holes into them, and I thought that would be really cool and match this cardigan perfectly. Next one is another K Facet design, and it is just called number 8 Colourwork Jacket. You can actually still buy this one on Ravelry. It says here, as I'm looking at it, there aren't too many pictures and there's only 4 projects that have been done. And same with the sizes, it's one size again, but it's quite large and oversized, so I feel like it could fit a ton of different bodies. I just love the different colorwork motifs in this and how they all like come together in the middle. I wouldn't use these colors. I think I would do more natural tones and kind of play with more fall colors probably, but I think it's a really fun jacket. This says it uses Aran weight yarn, and then the suggested yarn says Rowan Summer Tweed. So that is a 70% silk and 30% cotton. And this one, actually, I don't think it's full on like stranded color work, but I think this one might be in Tarja. I'm not entirely sure, but it is one that I really want to cast on. I think it's so cute, and one that you could carry on throughout all seasons, especially if you kind of play with colors that work with all seasons. So K Facet just has amazing, really fun designs. It's hard not to kind of just stare at his designs all day long. I could do that. Okay, we'll move away from Kaf now and get into some more recent designs. Another one that is high up on my list is called the Bouquet Sweater. And this is by Junko Okamoto. And this one has been on my list for quite some time. I actually just want to cast this on like today, but I've got too many things on the go and I don't have the yarn for it. It calls for a worsted weight yarn, and it only has one size as well. So, oh wait, does it? Yes, one size. And again, this one too is quite oversized and a big ear look. I do think that this one would be a lot easier to make bigger or smaller if you needed to. And you could just like add in some extra colorwork motifs if you needed to, if you made it bigger, or like take some of them out if you made it smaller. So this one is really interesting because it's kind of like most colorwork that I see is like the colorwork on the circular yoke or an all over colorwork. And this one kind of seems to be like sporadically placed throughout the sweater, which I thought was really fun and cool. There are quite a bunch of different projects done on this one, and some of them just give me so much inspiration. They are just so fun because you can do a really high contrast look or a low contrast look. I think the main color is kind of meant to be a little marled looking, if you want kind of like a low contrast. And there's not as much definition between like the Colourwork motif and the main color. And I do like that look as well, but I also do like the high contrast look. I do picture mine to being kind of like a warm beigey gray, leaning more on the taupey gray color. And then I'm thinking like a nice, not too dark, but like a medium dusty blue. And I think that would look really, really pretty and beautiful. And some people use like hand spun for the Colourwork part too, which looks really amazing. But I do suggest scrolling through the projects on this Ravelry page if you like this pattern, because it is so fun. I've been dreaming about this sweater for a few weeks now, and I just want to cast it on already. It is so cute. I think it's so unique just because, like I said, the Colourwork is like, it's not fully symmetrical either. And it has kind of like placed randomly throughout. So based on what I've read too, that it's been a really like interesting style of construction, and a way of construction that no one has really seen much before or at all in previous knitting patterns. So it's just really, really unique. And I don't know if this is a certain style of color work or if there's a name for it, but it kind of looks like in some of them, you bring the floats of the stranded color work to the front of your fabric instead of at the back, just like tiny small floats. If anybody knows if that's called like a certain technique or not, I would love to know. So please let me know in the comments if there's a name for that. And Junko Okamoto, and hopefully I'm saying her name right, she has a lot of really interesting patterns. If you kind of like the style of this one, I definitely recommend checking out more of her patterns. And I'm actually going to show you a couple more of hers today because they're all just so gorgeous. The next one is the Alina by Junko Okamoto, and this is made with sport weight yarns, and this one actually has 7 sizes available. So this has color work that's basically just along like the neckline collar area, and it's really interesting because it's quite a deep V, but not in your traditional V-neck sense. It goes like this and then it flat and then it goes up again, and it's like that in the back as well. So this one too just seems like a really nice, comfortable, oversized sweater, perfect for winter. There's about 174 projects, so you can scroll through there and get a good idea of different color combinations and to see how the project went for a lot of people. I do really love like the rusty brown for the contrast color, or would even love a rusty brown for the main, and then like a cream for the contrast color would be gorgeous as well. I just think this is such a fun and unique design. I think it would be a little tricky to get the fit right because if it looks kind of like if it's too oversized, but the way that the V-neck is in the front and back, it kind of makes it like on some of these people's projects, it makes it seem like the sleeves or the shoulders might go out a bit, resulting in some puckering out here and in the back. So I feel like this, you'd want just the perfect amount of positive ease so you don't get that puckering. Unless you like that look, I for one would kind of want it to lay more flat and not have like a ridiculous amount of positive ease. But I just think this is a really fun, gorgeous knit. Okay, I think I'll do maybe one more Junko Okamoto pattern, and this is called the Astrid. This is using light fingering yarn, and it comes in one size also. Again, I think this is one that could be adjusted for your bust or your length or whatever, and quite easily. It is a circular yoke, so you could just keep increasing if you needed to, if you needed some more length under here or more width, and then if you wanted it smaller, you could probably just separate for sleeves earlier in the circular yoke, is what my thinking is. There are 6 contrast colors in this and then 1 main color, And what's really cool about this is it's, like I said, circular yoke all over Colourwork for the body, but the sleeves are cabled, and they are 3/4 length sleeve, and of course you could make them full length or do whatever you want for that. But I just thought it was a really fun way to bring in cable to your project, because I'm not a huge fan of cabling. I love the look of it. However, I don't really like the practice of it. So being it sleeves, and they're quite short because it's the sleeves, after you split for sleeves, you're pretty much starting your sleeve here and then you're knitting to about here. So it's a short length of sleeve and not too much cabling that you would have to do. I think this one's just really fun and unique also, like all of her patterns are, and you could really have a lot of fun with the different colors, being that there are, I think I said 5 contrast colors. I'm not really sure what kind of color story I would want for this pattern, but I'm thinking I would want something a little more low contrast in the contrast colors. Being that the sleeves are solid color, I wouldn't want too much of it to be like a harsh break of color work and all these colors and then a main color here. I think I'd want it to flow quite seamlessly. So that's my thought on it. All right, we'll get into some other designers now because I showcased her a lot, but I just can't help it. I think she has really, really fun, unique designs. Okay, this next one here is just so gorgeous. It is called Vare by Gudrun Johnson, and hopefully I'm saying her name right. I never know how to say her name. And it is with fingering weight yarn, and I believe this one is worked bottom up, and it might be steeked as well for the armholes. So as you can see, the whole body is color work, and then the sleeves and the collar are solid using one color. So this one, let's take a peek here to see what it says. This sweater is worked in one piece from the bottom up. Front and back are then divided at the underarm, and steek stitches are cast on to work the remainder of the upper body in the round. And then additional steeks are added for the front neck. After shoulders have been joined, stitches are then picked up around the armhole, and shortwares are worked to shape the sleeve cap. And then you have an option to do a straight or a balloon sleeve, as well as a crew or turtleneck finishing. But the pictures of this one are so gorgeous. It gives off such like a fun 70s vibe, especially if you pair it with some like brown high-waisted trousers or something. I love this. I've not done steeking before. I know a lot of us knitters are scared of steeking, and for good reason. You're cutting into your knits. But it seems so fun and satisfying at the same time, and something that I would love to get into eventually. I also am not opposed to color work flat with purling the color work. I don't mind that. So if I'm not ready for steeking, maybe I could try just doing it flat for the front and back pieces right as you separate for the armhole. So this one is just so gorgeous, and this one does come in 10 sizes. And I think I would do balloon sleeve, love a balloon sleeve, and maybe a mock neck because I don't like full turtleneck. I just feel a bit claustrophobic. And I feel like the mock neck really gives it more of a vintage vibe, but the crew neck is really cute too. There are 89 projects on Ravelry at the time of filming, and there are a ton of really beautiful color combinations that you can check out if you are interested in making this one and need some kind of color inspiration. There's also one that I want to show next that is similar to this, but a dress version. And if I can find it, here it is. So this is Hjarta, I think I'm saying it correctly, by Gudrun Johnston. This is fingering weight yarn, and it comes in 10 sizes as well. And this is a full-on knit dress, but the color work is only at the bottom of the sleeves and the bottom of the hem of the dress. This too gives off such a fun like 70s vibe, especially if you paired it with some tall boots. I think would be so cute. I love the photo shoot for this one because it's got that beautiful wicker peacock chair, I believe they're called. I've been searching for a chair like that for years and years and years. One day I will have one and probably put it in the corner there, and it could be a knitting chair. I can film for YouTube there. Anyway, I really love what the model is wearing. It's kind of like a warm gray with some like white in there for the main color, and then it's got a sage green and some really like muted peachy tones for the color work. I think that might be a good way of describing it. And I love the colors together. I would want to make one very similar to what the model is wearing. I think that's gorgeous. This is one that I would also wear like fall, winter, and spring. And I would want to kind of bring in colors that can go well with all seasons. I wouldn't want to do too dark so I could wear it in the spring and not feel like I'm still so wintry. There are only 12 projects on Ravelry so far, but they're all quite different, so you can kind of get a feel for how different colors play into that design. But I just think that's one that I would wear for years and years to come, and one that you could probably modify in different ways to kind of fit your style a bit more. Like, I'm sure you wouldn't have to do the balloon sleeve. You could make it straight bell if you wanted. You could do decreasing and just make it more of a tapered, or do a 3/4 length. You could do a full turtleneck, mock neck, crew neck. Really, you could kind of just modify it to make it more of your style. Okay, now I gotta pick another one. It's so fun going through patterns. I think I'll go with buess. I think that's how you say it. It's by Mary Jane Mucklestone. It is a cute, cute colorwork beret. I think it's a really good project to kind of get a taste of colorwork if you don't want to go full-blown sweater or dress or whatever. It's a nice small project. There are how many different 6 contrast colors and then 1 main color. So you could have so much fun playing with different color combinations for this, or maybe it'd be a really good stash buster. It does call for fingering weight yarn, and the suggested yarn is Jamieson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight. If I were to make this, and I want to, I think I would go with very similar colors to what is pictured here and what the model is wearing. The way they paired this like pink and orangey red and the pops of blue in there and little bits of orange, I think it's just really, really genius and beautiful. It works so well together. There are 102 projects on Ravelry. A lot of them went with the original colors, but there are still some other different colors in here, and some do way less contrast colors and kind of just work with 2, which looks really good too if you're kind of intimidated by working with so many colors. And yeah, it looks like a lot went with the suggested colors. And I can see why, like, that's what I want to do, and it looks so gorgeous. Okay, I think I'm gonna do one last one here, and it is, oh, how am I gonna say this? This is by Lincoln Newman. This is pahara genza, genzer, sorry. Anyways, it's bulky weight, and it has extra small to extra large in sizes, and it is just looks like the coziest sweater to wear around a campfire at like the beginning of fall. Or I know my family, we have a ton of fires outside in the wintertime around the snow, and on one of those, even though it's a cool climate where I live in the wintertime and that we do get a lot of snow, we actually are the sunniest city, or like one of the sunniest cities in Canada, and we get a lot of days of sunshine in the year, and especially in winter too. So we'll often get those days that are not a cloud in the sky, and then you've got the white sparkling snow everywhere, and you can see the mountains, and it's so fresh and beautiful out. And we often have fires outside on days like that. And I can just picture myself wearing this sweater in front of the fire, all bundled up, and it just looks so cozy. I think it's kind of got like a fun vintagey vibe to it. I love the flowers at the body, and I love the little buttons and the hoodie too. It looks so cute. There are only 4 projects on here, so not a whole lot to look at, but the author or the designer, Linka, she knit up a couple of different sorry, I just got a message and didn't know who it was. She knit up a couple of different samples with different color combinations to kind of give you an idea of what you can do. And this is a drop shoulder sweater, and it is knitted from bottom up, and it's quick to knit because it's on 6mm needles and in bulky yarn. And let's see here. Yeah, it's knitted bottom up in the round. You knit the hood back and forth and then sew it together. I think you pick up stitches for the sleeves and for the button band just right here. So I think it would be relatively quick to knit compared to like a fingering weight sweater. And there's not too much color work. It's just, you know, one band here and then on the sleeves too. And I think it would go pretty fast. I really want to make this one. But as you can see, got a lot of plans here, and I'm not the fastest with color work. I try and do one strand in my left, one strand in my right. However, when I do that, I always, I always twist the stitch when I knit with my left. So because I have always knit with my right, so in English style. So what I've been doing now is just like picking up each yarn, and it kind of slows me down a bit, but it just makes for a much neater color work for myself, and it's been working. But yeah, it does kind of slow me down, which is totally fine. I enjoy every bit of doing color work, so it's not like I'm trying to get past this section and I'm not enjoying it. It is really fun and enjoyable for me. So I hope you liked this video. I hope that you maybe got some inspiration and possibly liked some of the patterns that I've shown today. Again, the bundle will be linked down below, so you can check out the ones shown today and some other ones that I didn't get a chance to talk about today. If you did really like any of them, I'd love to know which ones, and if you're planning on casting any of them on. I'd also love to know if you have made any of these before and what the experience was, and if you wear them a lot, because I am looking to kind of expand my knit wardrobe, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, so I can stay nice and warm and toasty this coming winter and for many other winters in my future. So thanks again. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you did, please consider liking, subscribing, or commenting, as it goes a really long way for my channel, and I appreciate it so very much. So I'll see you all again soon.